Hello, everyone. This is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for a couple years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to go into what we were shipping out today on Friday, but this was actually a really good day. We almost got to $500, so I jinxed it in a good way by saying February was like really bad. It still was really bad overall, but almost $500 day really lifts up like a lot of the numbers. It's like what, 4 of my $100 days, which I normally don't get that low of a day, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go into talking about some of the cool stuff. So the first thing is right here from a repeat buyer. These are lots of 140 Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions cards. So this is a trading card game that I don't know too much about. I've seen a bunch of it and I do sell it occasionally. I usually just do lots. I'll look up like some of the foils or the rares and stuff like that, but I don't think I've found anything, at least for the stuff I have, that's worth listing individually. Like I said, this ended up selling for $11 plus shipping. Everything's gonna be plus shipping. Maybe they looked at my other Warhammer Age of Sigmar stuff. Here's another repeat buyer, some board game tokens right here. You can't really see them probably on the camera, but they're like these like plastic ones. I couldn't figure out what board game these went to. It's super rare for me to get stumped. There are a lot of board games. I'm less informed on some of the Kickstarter stuff. So it looks like there's a metal trap. There's like a potion that says +1. There's a treasure chest, other stuff like that. 22 of these to a repeat buyer for $7.50. So they probably know what they go towards, or they want to use it for like, I don't know, something custom, like a board game they're working on. All right, next up is going to be a PC game, World at War, A World Divided. Gary Grisby's right here. I don't know anything about these particular games. It's by a company called Matrix Games. Netta had me pick these up a long time ago. I almost passed on all of them because I hadn't seen them before. I don't know why I passed on them when I don't recognize PC games now. I should grab them because that usually means there's less of them out there. It looks like there's a lot of strategy and different like maps and maybe some kind of like tactics that go along with this. This one's actually pretty heavy, so it has like a heavy manual and stuff. This thing's complete, $28.69. But yeah, like I said, we've sold a lot of that particular like Matrix games and those particular like war games. There's a bunch of them. All right, next up is going to be a comic book. This one is pretty awesome. This is Dark Horse Comics Starship Troopers. This is actually based off of the movie adaptation. So yeah, I remember seeing this movie a couple times. I don't remember too much. I always thought these little aliens with their yellow sights and stuff, they reminded me of like Zergs and Zerglings from the StarCraft video game by Blizzard. So yeah, just a comic. This is part 1 of 2. This sold for $8. I get comics at like a medium rate, but I usually don't get anything too crazy, but I get them cheap. So that's why I list them when I get them. They're pretty easy to list. All right, next up is the big winner for the day. This right here is going to be Dungeon Quest First Edition Catacombs Complete, just doesn't have the box. So I got a incomplete Dungeon Quest First Edition, and it also, so that was 99% complete, missing 2 pieces. We sold that $180. This thing ended up selling for $150. So super cool. So I actually have the 2nd edition of Dungeon Quest, and it actually has the Catacombs expansion automatically in it. So part of the game is you're on a gridded map, you're picking a hero, you start in the corner of the map, you're trying to get treasure and going out with it. So I talked about that before. The Catacombs expansion, and also in the 2nd edition, is there's certain tiles that flip up that allow you to go into the catacombs, and each turn you like pick a direction, and then you're drawing these cards. You're like underneath the board, and the cards have a lot of like dangerous monsters and traps, but they also have some good rewards and treasures. Eventually you'll draw a card that says you pop up, so you also just like pop up in the middle of the board. Really cool like mechanic in the game. It's a lot of fun. It kind of changes up like the dynamic of the dimensions of the game. Normally it's just the, the top part, but this adds like a lower part. So yeah, $150 for that. It's awesome. Like I was super excited. I think it's going eBay International. So that was probably someone who couldn't find that in their country. I can't remember what place that went to. Australia. So they're probably gonna be really excited. It's in really good condition. So I'm excited, they're excited, and we get good money for it. All right, next up is gonna be this aluminum cheap cake pan right here. It has like 2 parts. I just put it into 2 different parts. There's a little bit like gunk down here that needs to be cleaned out. I took a bunch of pictures of all that stuff. We used to do really well with these cake pans and molds and stuff like that. Someone wanted to originally do a local pickup. We don't do local pickup. So I said, hey, you can send an offer and maybe, oh yeah, it's popular for Easter. That makes sense. Easter's come by. Oh, time's going by quick. All right. This sold for $22.49. We got that from the person where we basically bought a pallet of stuff that they didn't want. Most of the stuff was the die-cast police cars, Matchbox cars, the Army Men toys. All right, next up is going to be a lot of 3 Victoria's Secret pink little baggies right here, like little handbags. People probably reuse these for gifts or for themselves and stuff like that. I remember we got these at a estate sale, and Annetta found them in like the top area, and it ended up being the person's personal bags that they collected. And she was like, "Oh, how'd you find them?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Annetta found them." She still ended up selling us most of them. She kept a couple. She said she collects bags herself, and she just happened to like have them with her. All right, so these three sold for $11.25. That is the kind of thing that I really like to sell, like the empty boxes, bags. I do like to sell stuff that people would normally throw away, and because like people do collect them, they have like the brands, you can actually reuse them. All right, next up is going to be this particular item right here, base texture stamps. So I think, so you probably can't see through this one, the sealed wrapping has like a little bit, it's like dusty, and then there's the glare from the light just in general, even without the camera. But it has like a bunch of different textures. So I think you take a miniature base and you probably put some kind of material on it and use this stamp to have it like have like a ground effect or some kind of bumpy or ridges. So it helps you with basing miniatures. This went to a repeat buyer for $10.49. I think that's the only one I got from that particular company, so I had to look into it just a little bit. All right, moving along, we have the Star Wars, what particular is game? A pocket model right here, Star Wars pocket model cards. I only got a handful of these, like a couple lots. This lot sold for $25.50, so it's just another like Star Wars game. There's also like another Star Wars game, like the Jedi Returns to the Force of the Jedi or something like that, where I see a bunch of those. Some of those do have value, but I usually sell those in lots, so I haven't seen these often. So yeah, whatever pocket model TCG game is this, there's just gonna be another Star Wars one. Like I said, $25.50 for a lot of 135. All right, next up is going to be a Marvel card. This is Green Goblin, Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. It's like a clear chrome one right here. So the front side is pretty good, but the back side has this like bubble effect. You probably can't see it through the camera. So I messaged them like, hey, I properly showed pictures of the damage, and I picked the particular category of damage. I don't like eBay's trading card condition. They have 4 of them. I think the top 2 are like okay and normally how I would agree, but like their third one, which is their second to worst because they have 4, it's considered very good is their phrase. Very good means moderate to heavy damage on a card. Very good attached to moderate and heavy damage. I don't like that. I hope they eventually change that, because that is, you have to follow the rules of the platform. That is the condition. And then the next condition below that is poor, which is damage on both sides, all over the card, basically, like almost unusable. So this ended up selling for $5. I reached out to the buyer. I said, hey, let me know if you still want it. If I don't hear anything in the next few hours, I have to ship it because there's like a timeline. I don't want to get docked, or yeah, like I don't want to get hit with like a late shipment. All right, next up is going to be a lot of 4 laser focus world magazines from 1995. There's like April, what other ones? August, September, November. I think I don't know where we got these. Either Annetta grabbed these at some place, or we got them from the people who were going through their parents' storage unit nearby. So these end up selling for $15.93. It just looks like some kind of like technological type of scientific magazine. I would have to like dig more into it, but I have them nicely wrapped up. All right, next up is Vakund right here, Into the Unknown, an RPG like model booklet that you can use as like a little adventure. This one's by Troll Lord Games right there. We sell a bunch of their stuff. So yeah, a lot of different people can make modules and adventures for things like Dungeons and Dragons and other stuff as well, like Pathfinder. This sold for $12.15. I don't know if we were recording since I've sold this multiple times. I just don't know how many times you guys have seen it. This went to a repeat buyer as well. A lot of repeat buyers. We've been getting really lucky with that for like a year or so. I think we built up enough items in our shop and have given enough good customer service, shipping stuff, it being in good quality, good shape, and then constantly listing things that are like interesting to them. So like, I think that's my guess. You never really know why someone's going to be a repeat buyer. All right, and then last up is Different Worlds, issue 37, November, December 1984. I think we sold a Different Worlds book recently, I think, the magazine for adventure role-playing games, so like a RPG magazine. So this is just going to have like fun little notes, maybe like some advertisements of what's coming out. There's like the 007 RPG game on the back as like an advertisement. A Khajiit. I don't think this is a Khajiit. No, this looks like a special Ring World, whatever Ring World is, some kind of like sci-fi thing. But yeah, it's not going to be... I know it looks like a Khajiit. There you go. But it has like a little like water fins on the top for its ears and stuff like that. And it's sci-fi. It has like an astronaut helmet. It's on its like little ship right here, and there's like other planes and like a planet with mountains and this like human blight on it. All right. This a lot for that. This one sold for $23.62. So yeah, I might be going sourcing today. I'll see if it's worthy of like, or interesting enough to do like a video of like all the stuff when we get back. Won't be able to record there. That's not possible. And then yeah, I hope everyone has a good weekend. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.